Chapter 9 is all about scatter plots. What you see in front of you is an example of a scatter plot. A scatter plot is just a graph with a whole bunch of points scattered around. Now, they're not just random. We don't just randomly choose numbers and put points there. Those points represent data or information, but you really can plot any type of information. For example, you could choose to plot how tall you are, because that's a number. Your information has to be something with a number. And you could choose to plot how many cats you have, right? You could choose to plot how many burritos you ate today. And you could choose to plot how many hours you spent on Minecraft. You can choose to plot anything that has numbers. On a scatter plot, you're always combining two numbers, right? And whenever we graph, we have an x value and a y value. So we have our x value, whatever you chose, right? How many burritos you ate today. And our y value, whatever you chose in our example, right? How many hours you spent on Minecraft. And you can plot that point. It really doesn't mean much, but it's just fun information sometimes. Now, sometimes it's just random stuff, right? Burritos and Minecraft. But other times when scatter plots are actually valuable, you'll notice a trend or a pattern. We call this a correlation. So if we are graphing something, for example, how tall you are, maybe on your x-axis, or your x value is your height, and how much you weigh, that y value, your weight, that number. We call that a positive correlation because it makes sense. As you get taller, you weigh more. So for example, I think of my 6-year-old son. Okay, he's a lot shorter than everyone in the 8th grade. He also weighs a lot less than everyone in the 8th grade. That makes sense. Then you think of someone who's complete opposite extreme. Maybe think of Mr. D. He is super tall, and I can guarantee he weighs more than my 6-year-old son. Okay, so we call that a strong positive correlation. As the height goes up, the weight goes up. Our next example here is more of a moderate positive correlation where one value increases, the other value also increases, but maybe it's not quite as nice of a line, right? This was a really nice line. This one's not quite so nice. Then there's no correlation, right? How many burritos you ate and how long you spent on Minecraft. There's no like law that says if you play Minecraft, you have to eat burritos or something like that, right? You can eat burritos and do something else. So there would be no correlation there. Then there are things like these down below where it's a negative correlation. As one thing increases, the other thing decreases. So an example of that could be the amount of time you spend shopping, right? The amount of time you spend shopping could be your X value. You spent 5 hours shopping. Whew, wow, that's a lot of time. And then your Y value could be how much money you have. The more time you spend shopping, the less money you have, right? And we have a moderate negative correlation, so negative being going down. So negative would mean as your X value increases, your Y value decreases. And it's moderate or strong, right? Sometimes there's not like a really strong connection, and sometimes there's a very strong connection. Then we have this last example. They call it curvilinear. We just call it nonlinear, where there's some kind of pattern. It's just not a linear pattern, right? It's not a pattern that looks like it's following the trend of a straight line. That is your introduction to scatter plots and correlation.